think it's on. Check it out.
It is on.
It is on. Welcome.
Great to be here. Before we get started, there's two very important people you failed to introduce, and I need to make sure.
I know who they are. I didn't have names, but you can address them.
Brian and Jason, if you guys will stand up. They need to feel some love.
Thanks, guys. They're regulars here, man. We see them a couple times every year. Great to have him.
They've got a couple of softball questions. I fed them on the way down.
All right. Before we dive into all things Razorbacks, I think we need to make mention of this. Is that one thing we started doing, Hunter, is that we teamed up with the Texas Sports Hall of Fame and the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame, and we, for the last, I guess, 5 years now, Kevin, I think, have been handling the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame induction, and we've got our new class for 2019 to introduce. So if you'll strike it up, give me the logo there and give me some music there, I will read to you our honorees for this year. Coming up, I believe, I don't have the date for me, I think it's late November. John Barnhill, Delmonica Delhorny Hawkins for women's basketball, Paul Donovan men's track, the great Scott Hastings basketball, our own Bruce James in football. Look at that. Johnny Ray, one of the great baseball Razorbacks of all time. John Richardson, obviously posthumously, and one of the first African Americans to ever earn a scholarship at the University of Arkansas. Glenn Rose, a guy who is amazing, played basketball for the Razorbacks in the 20s, came back to coach the Razorbacks and won 5 Southwest Conference championships. He'll be going in along with Lisa Sparks Walker, track and field. How about, let's give them a big round of applause, all those honorees. You know, John Barnhill, obviously his name is still, obviously, at Barnhill. We saw the news with Coach Musselman. So, a great class. Any comments on that?
Well, I do want to comment that November 11th is clearly written on your sheet of paper, just not in that big type where you've got.
How about that? See, look at that. I need your help. Yeah, November 11th. Thank you. November 11th.
We sincerely appreciate the Touchdown Club and their involvement with that Southwestern Conference Hall of Fame, so we can honor those men and women that played in the Southwestern Conference during that era and properly recognizing what they achieved while they're Razorback student athletes.
Have you guys enjoyed coming to that over the years? Do you like that? Have you been to the Southwest Conference Hall? It's a great banquet, and even though we're a football touchdown club, we enjoy honoring all the sports. And we mentioned women's basketball, track and field, all of them. And be able to honor, obviously, John Richardson, Barnhill, and Glenn Rose, and it will be a fantastic event. You're right, November 11th. Let's dive into, I will say this. So, I mentioned last week, we haven't done a lot of Q&A with our membership, just because our guests have been, we have a lot of ground to cover, but I think it's always nice to have this with the U of A athletic director. And you didn't hesitate a bit. Yeah, we're going to do Q&A. No matter what the score of the game was, I'm doing Q&A afterwards, right?
I get to pick the questions, so.
So let's dive into football. So one of the things I wanted to point out to everybody here, Matt, I think you've got the picture. So you were in 2 hats as you watched the game and as you're involved. So that is your son, Jake. He was a standout linebacker out of high school in Texas. Went to Colorado as a walk-on when Mike McIntyre was there, and when Mike left, he decided to come and walk on the University of Arkansas. So he's a redshirt freshman. So you're wearing 2 hats, as a dad and as an athletic director. So when you see a game like yesterday, so tell me sort of the different kind of emotions you have, both maybe as one as a dad and one as an athletic director.
Well, the emotions are really the same. I've got, on a Saturday, I have 120 kids that are out there on that football field. 120 kids that have put in their blood, sweat, and tears during the spring, during the summer, and during the fall, and that have an opportunity only 12 times during the fall. And so those are all my kids. And of course, Jake is a member of that team, and I'm very proud that he's out there. But the emotions are really no different. I'm very proud to see him run through that A on Saturdays, and I'm proud to see him on the sidelines, but he's just one of 120. So the emotions are really, the disappointment's not any different because Jake's a member of that team. The disappointment's the same.
We missed the very beginning of Sully's video there. We got the second shot of you shooting at the free throw. So you were a collegiate basketball player. So you understand what it takes to be, successful in college sports. So as a former athlete, how is it, again, you're affiliated, this is your team, the Razorbacks, watching a game where you're supposed to win and you don't win?
Well, I've been involved in those as a student athlete. I've been involved for 27 years in many of those games in various sports as an administrator. And that's when you put kind of your livelihood in the hands of 18 to 22-year-olds, that's sometimes what you get, games that you should win, like the game Saturday versus San Jose State. You don't necessarily get the result that you expect. And that's what makes college sports so incredible, because a team like San Jose State, that was their Super Bowl. And quite honestly, they came out and played like it was their Super Bowl. They played better than our team played on Saturday. And they were the team, if we'd come back and won that game, we probably didn't deserve to win that game. San Jose State did. And so it was disappointing from that perspective. But one of the things I've learned in 27 years, and having been through some highs and lows in 10 years as an athletic director, is the highs are never too high and the lows are never too low. And that's one of the things I've really tried to find, that balance, is never get too excited like when we win against Colorado State, and never get too low when we have a game like we did Saturday night.
College sports, they're big business. Obviously, college football, the biggest. So, is there an extra frustration factor at all that when you pay a team like San Jose State, you pay them $1.5 million to come play, and you lose those kind of games? Does that make it even more frustrating, or are they all equal? Does it matter at all?
It has nothing to do with the money. I mean, the money, quite honestly, gives our fans an opportunity to have another home game where we don't have to go play San Jose State and return that game either the year before or the following year. And so that's what the money is about. The frustration is the same. It's a game we should have won, David, and we didn't win that game. And it's not about, $1.5 million. That was for our fans so they can have another opportunity to see the Razorbacks play in that stadium. But it's frustrating just because we lost a game where we had better talent, and that's a game we should have won.
We always talk about it on our radio show over the years. The Razorbacks have a great history, going back to the 60s and 70s with Frank Broyles and Lou Holtz and all that. And so we always ask the question, what should be the expectation of our fan base? We're from a small state, don't have a lot of money, don't have a lot of D1 recruits. What do you see there should be an expectation of how many wins, how often we should challenge to go to Atlanta? Do you view it that way? Do you have one?
Well, as a fan, you can have the expectations you want to have. I mean, that's you do your research as a fan. You choose to be a fan, and my expectations right now, as we're in 16 games into the Chad Morris series, that we continue to get better as a football program, and we see tangible ways that we're getting better. Saturday, quite honestly, we took a step backwards. We did not get better. Coach Morris will be the first to tell you. We talked yesterday morning, as we do every Sunday morning, whether it's a win or a loss, and he was very disappointed in the performance. And he'll be the first to tell you we took a step backwards on Saturday and how we performed on the field. And I think, you look at, again, I'm not putting the blame on our 18 to 22-year-olds. I mean, we've got to do a great job as a staff and in our preparation and development of our game plan, how we integrate that game plan in practice during the course of the week, and then how we execute that game plan. And we did not do a very good job. And whether it's the fact that we were listening to all the accolades and patting ourselves on the back after a great fourth quarter against Colorado State, and we all felt we had turned a corner, myself included. But the fact of the matter is, right now as a football program here at the University of Arkansas, we are not good enough that we can't go out every Saturday and give our best and expect that we're going to win. We're just not good enough.
You came in, I think it was, I guess Chad Morris was hired 2 days after you were announced. I think that's correct, somewhere around there too, a couple days after. So did you, in your mind as an athletic director, you've got a long history, you've been in business 25 years, and obviously came here from Houston. Tom Herman, you hired over there. Did you, in your mind, did you look at this football program and have expectations in terms of, where do we need to be at a certain point in your mind to be successful in your mind? Did you have a goal?
I did. I mean, going into this season, quite honestly, I thought we had an opportunity to be 3-1 or 4-0. We're 2-2. Am I disappointed that we're 2-2? I'm disappointed in the way we played on Saturday. I'm disappointed in the fact that we lost that game on Saturday. But then, I try not to say that we've got to be this. But, we all do this. I'm a fan sometimes, and I'll look and I'll break down our schedule, and I say, man, we got a great chance to win that game, a great chance to win that game. Probably not going to win that game. Here's our path to get to a bowl game. And these first 4 games, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves as a program from last spring through the summer to this past Saturday to be 3-1, 4-0, and we're not there. But the season is not over. We've got 8 more games to play. There's a lot of teams out there in college football right now that are 2-2, some that are 1-3, some that are 0-4. We're 2-2. We got a big game against another 2-2 team on Saturday that's fighting for their lives, quite candidly. They don't want to be 0-2 in the Southeastern Conference. They don't want to lose to the University of Arkansas. They are not going to feel sorry for us. And we're not going to feel sorry for us either. We're looking straight ahead, and we've got to put the San Jose State game behind us, and we've got to start preparing for a great game against Texas A&M on Saturday.
Obviously, you got a fan base, obviously, not happy. You know, you're never happy when you lose to a team. Again, you're supposed to win. But why don't you share with this group here, the folks that are listening, maybe some of the challenges that you see that Chad Morris either one came in and inherited, or the things that he's having to deal with now that make it a challenge to get this program where it needs to get back to.
Well, first and foremost, we're playing in the Southeastern Conference. We're playing in a conference where everybody has similar resources and great facilities and great coaches. And right now, we're at the bottom looking up at 13 other programs that are a step or two ahead of us within the Southeastern Conference. And that's the biggest challenge, is we've got to be patient as we take a step and then another step and another step. It's not going to happen overnight. You talked about Tennessee's record in the last 15 games versus the Florida Gators. I think you said it's 14-1 that Florida is against Tennessee. Whoever thought that Tennessee, with all the pride that they have in their program, would lose 14 out of the last 15 games of that rivalry versus Florida? But it is tough to win football games. Tough to win football games in the Southeastern Conference. And you're going to get everybody's best effort. And I promise you, Texas A&M could care less if we lost to San Jose State this past Saturday. They want to come out and kick our tails.
You believe, I know you have a certain amount of fans here, and with our fan base, that, you know, we should be in the SEC. You know, remember we were in the old Southwest Conference. We should be in the Big 12. You happy being in the SEC? Glad to be here. We believe we can see here.
Come on, we can compete in the Southeastern Conference. We've proven in the history of our program we can compete in the Southeastern Conference in football, basketball, baseball, and all of our sports. Our football program's not where it is. Quite honestly, if our football program was where we all thought it would be, I probably would not be sitting here doing this interview. Chad Morris would probably not be getting criticized across the state right now, if this football program was where we all wanted it to be right now.
Talk about the difficulty. I mean, and of course, Arkansas, again, we've seen 6 or 7 years where this is not the first time we've tripped up to a team that we were favored to win, or a non-Power 5 conference. How difficult is it being with the Razorback Foundation, or being the athletic director, when you have these games and you have your alumni that aren't happy? How difficult is that for you to do your job?
It's not difficult to do our job, because, yes, there's a vocal group of Razorback fans that are expressing their opinion and frustration, but I promise you, I'm getting the same level of support on the other side of people that understand what our program is going through, that are telling us it's going to be okay, and I'm getting some positive emails and positive phone calls and positive text messages, and people are reaching out to continue to give us the encouragement and tell us to keep this going in the right direction. You've got the right man leading your football program. We've got the right man leading your athletic program. Stay the course and try to block some of that negative noise out.
Yeah, I remember I think there's this trophy around here with a man on it that you know, Frank Broyles, that used to be, he was a football guy, and so he actually would be, obviously, was known to get involved with the coaching staff decisions. So that's something that Hunter Yurachek does, as far as getting involved with his head coaches and assistant coaches and those kind of things.
It's not, and as I've been here now for 2 years and heard story after story of Coach Broyles, I have the utmost respect for Coach Broyles as a coach and as an administrator, and he made decisions in his era that he thought were in the best interest of the University of Arkansas, the football program and the athletic program. And now in the Hunter Yurachek era, I'm making decisions what I believe to be in the best interest of our football program, and it's not to get into Coach Morris's business with X's and O's and who his staff is. That's what we hired him as a head football coach. He's got to make the decisions on who his staff is. He's got to make the decisions on personnel and the X's and O's and the game plan. And my role is to support Chad Morris and to support John Chavis and Joe Craddock and our staff and those young men that are in that locker room battling each and every day, to make sure that they understand that their director of athletics is with them. I have a tradition that I started when I was an AD at Coastal Carolina, where I stand outside the locker room door before every game and I shake every player's hand, and I stand outside the locker room door after every game and I shake every player's hand, win or lose. And I want our young men in that program and our coaching staff to know that I am always in that foxhole and I'm always there for them. And I believe that's my role as a director of athletics. A few more things that we'll open up to the audience here in a few minutes.
I mentioned you did not hire, I guess you'd only been on staff for 2 days when Coach Morris was hired, but you did hire a few new folks, including Eric Musselman. You've gotten great reviews, a lot of great things about him. Talk about how that hire has sort of developed and how people are receiving him and what he's doing on campus.
Well, I think he's been received very, very well. I mean, he is a marketing person's dream in how he handles social media, his presence that he has on our campus, within our community, across this state. He's doing a phenomenal job. He is a high-energy guy. Chad Morris is a high-energy guy. He takes a little shot of Red Bull here and there for his energy. Coach Musselman is a high-energy guy, and he doesn't drink coffee, he doesn't drink Red Bull. He just wakes up with energy. And one of the things I really enjoy is going over and watching our young men work out and see how he's changing them. I don't like the word culture. I think that is an overused word, but changing how our young men practice and changing how they approach the game of basketball. I've got a son that's in the 9th grade. I drop him off at 6:30 in the morning for his football practice at Fayetteville High School. I go over to the basketball practice facility to try to get my workout in. 6:30 in the morning, Mason Jones is in there shooting basketball with the manager at 6:30 in the morning. That didn't used to happen. That's changing how these young men are approaching the game of basketball, and that's the Coach Musselman impact on our program.
Are you surprised a little bit? You know, sometimes when you hire somebody, you don't know what you get till you're around him. Does he turn out to be even more than what you expected when you hired him?
I think so. I mean, I had followed what Nevada had done for a few years and how he changed that program. And if you go back and look at Nevada, they won 9 games before he arrived. They didn't win less than 20 games in any of his 4 seasons. And in his 4th season, they were ranked in the top 5 in the country. He got a team to the Elite 8 from Nevada. I knew he was really special. I mean, when I met with him out at his home, we'd spoken 24 hours earlier about the position, and I got on a plane to go meet with him. He had already broken down many of our players. He had watched film on our team. He had statistics and analytics. I mean, he knew about the Arkansas Razorback basketball program.
You also, too, a big announcement about Barnhill. Was that your idea? Was that his idea? And how did that come to fruition?
You know, that was really his idea. He traveled to see Sidney Moncrief get inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame with Ron Brewer and a couple other players, and they were talking about Barnhill, and he said, you know, that's a great idea to kind of bring that back. And so he came back from that and said, hey, what do you think about playing a red-white game in Barnhill? He said, you know, having 2,000 to 3,000 people in Bud Walton doesn't really get it done for a red-white game and the energy we want. He said, I think we can get a great deal of energy if we play that game in Barnhill, and I think you'll see an exciting red-white game on October the 5th.
It's Team Eddie versus Team Nolan. You're an old basketball player. Which pair of shorts would you rather wear, Team Eddie or Team Nolan's style?
Well, you know, you saw those pictures. I wore some shorty shorts back then.
You were actually Team Eddie. You actually played at Team Eddie. Also, too, a rather surprising hire just because of her age for gymnastics. Talk about that real quick. Just the fact that somebody who's got an unbelievable reputation.
Sure. You know, Coach Cook told me midway through the gymnastics season that he was going to retire, but he wanted to kind of keep it somewhat under wraps, and he told a few people, and one of those people that he told was Val Condis out at UCLA. And Jordan was on Val's staff there, and they had a meet at Oklahoma, and Jordan reached out to me, and she said, I just want to come out and talk to you a little bit about your opening. And so I thought Jordan was fairly young, and I just looked up and she's 24 years old, wants to talk to me about her head coaching job. So I gave her kind of a courtesy, what I thought was going to be an hour meeting at a coffee shop there in Fayetteville. We ended up speaking for close to 3 hours, and I got in my car and I called our sport administrator for gymnastics, and I said, she's going to be our next head coach. She was unbelievable.
We'll circle back before we open up real quick to the football. You know, one of the things I think all athletic directors, not just Arkansas, everywhere, you're challenging is that 60-inch screen and the telephone or the iPhones and access to TVs. About fan attendance and the game experience, in-game experience, and pre-game experience, you guys really raised the bar. Talk about, are you happy with what you've seen so far?
It's been great. I mean, Hogtown, which if you haven't been to a game this year, we closed Maple Street between Razorback Road and Stadium Drive. We have a live band that starts 4 hours prior to the game, a really nice band stage. We've got a large screen TV showing other college games. We have about a dozen food trucks. We have a beer garden. We have games for kids. We have another Razorback athletic team that is always out there signing autographs. The Hog Walk starts there and comes through there. We have a pep rally, and that's really become a focal point where we've had thousands of fans that have gone through there each of our first 3 games. Of course, we added the amenity of alcohol throughout our stadium. We've expanded and enhanced our Wi-Fi throughout the stadium. We've done some simple things where we've listened to our fans, and we've put nursing stations around so that new moms can come and enjoy the games as well. We've got stroller corrals. We've got a place where you can valet park your bike if you want to bike. We've got a partnership with Lyft. We send out surveys after every football game to our season ticket holders to get their feedback on their experience at that specific game, whether it's the volume of the music, which we hear a lot of feedback about, whether it's concessions, restroom cleanliness, whatever the case may be.
You got a 72,000 seat stadium. Is that the right amount for Arkansas?
Right now, it's not. It's not, quite candidly. But once we get this flipped and flipped in the right direction, I think you see what's happened at Baum-Marker Stadium. We had
By the way, 7,000 fans in the
7,000
exhibition game
people for an
against
exhibition
Oklahoma.
game. We're winning in that sport. When we start winning in the sport of football, 72,000 seats is not going to be enough. I promise you. The passion of the Razorback fans will show out once this program is headed in the direction and is where we think it can get to.
The schedule the last 2-3 years was already decided before you came on board. So talk about how you handle future scheduling. I know we're at Notre Dame next year. I think we have Tennessee next year. Just talk about the challenge. Booking schools, you have to pay $1 million and a half. Talk about the challenge of that.
Well, we're trying to do more regional games that I think will help bring some. I mean, one of the things I think that really made the Southeastern Conference special before the evolution of TV and how it's kind of, every game's on TV now, is that fans would get in a car and drive from one SEC community to another. And so really focused on more regional games like the 4-game series we have with Oklahoma State. I think is a great regional series. Memphis I think is a great regional series for us to get Memphis, Tulsa, another team that their fans can drive over. And so our focus is on more of those regional teams that I think really can help us sell some tickets to our visiting fans and have more of an interest even to our fans throughout the state of Arkansas.
It's sort of been a thing that we do every year when we bring in the athletic director, but it's a little bit different this year when we ask the question. For so many years, it was with Arkansas where they ever play Arkansas State. Well, as Sully said in his intro, you already see the games with UALR lined up, UAPB. Just talk about the future, and do you look at Arkansas State down the road?
I'm not going to say we would never look at Arkansas State down the road, but what we've done now is just taken that first step, and we'll see if there's a second step after that first step. But the games so far, we've gotten a positive response. The games with UALR and as well as Pine Bluff, and we'll play Pine Bluff in football here in a couple of years. And again, that's another game that I think a regional game that will have interest throughout the state. Obviously, a game versus Arkansas State and any sport will have some interest across this state. So whether that happens or not, I'm not going to make any guarantees one way or the other as I sit here today.
As a group here, were you glad to hear just the combination of playing UALR and UAPB? That's something that we never were able to say before until your arrival. So that's obviously a great legacy moment. Also wanted to mention 2 team reunions this year. I saw we were going to have the 88-89 Cotton Bowl team, the football team. We're going to honor them. I guess maybe 2020, not this year, but is it next year?
This year.
This year.
Quinn reminded me that on the way down.
Yeah, I was going to say, Quinn, I should know that. This year, next year, you should know. Yeah, 2 great Cotton Bowl teams.
He didn't want me to talk about the 1990 season, but he wanted me to focus on 88 and 89. Is that right, Quinn? Okay.
And you're also going to have the 69 team, the anniversary of the big shootout?
The big shootout played probably one of the greatest games in the history of college football.
Have you had a chance to watch the game, or you just heard about it?
I have not, but I've had plenty of people from the 69 team tell me about it.
Watch everything but the fourth quarter. Turn it off and leave after that. Yeah, and so also too, John Richardson, I mentioned him, 50th anniversary of the first African American ever to receive a scholarship at Arkansas.
Yeah, we're going to really celebrate John's legacy next year as we celebrate the 150th anniversary of the University of Arkansas.
Nolan Richardson Court.
Big announcement coming about when that's going to be kind of unveiled here in the next day or two, and so I asked for some feedback from fans last week. You know, I will use social media from time to time. I've turned it off here for the last 24 hours. Last week I asked for fan feedback on what they wanted to see on the design of Nolan Richardson Court. Anybody want to take a guess at what the #1 thing I received? Slobbery hog.
Did you ever think in your career you would think you'd get an email about slobbering hog?
Slobbering hog, you know. It wasn't Scotty Thurman that won the national championship, it was that slobbering hog.
But again, an exciting moment to be able to do that in honor of Noah.
It really is, and Coach Richardson's really excited about it. Coach Musselman's done a great job of engaging Coach, and if he's available, he's going to come and kind of be an honorary coach at that game, the Red White game on October the 5th, and so he's still very much a part of our program.
Real quick before we open it up, what about the legislation in California about paying the players? What's your stance as an athletic director of the SEC on that?
And we've been asked by our attorneys at the NCAA really not to talk on that, but I can tell you as a father of two student athletes now, my oldest son that's graduated from college now, and Jake who's there, that the student athlete experience is better than it has ever been. We are investing a significant amount of money in our student athletes. And what I always go back on is being a student athlete is a voluntary activity. It's a heck of a commitment, but no one is making you be a student athlete. No one's making you put your name on line and sign that scholarship. That's something that you do, and you understand when you sign your name on that NLI what comes with that and what doesn't come with that. And so if there's an opportunity for you to make some money as a student athlete, or not as a student, but just as a person off your name, image, and likeness, right now that's not as a student athlete. And so you ought to take that opportunity and go somewhere else with that. That's kind of my focus on that.
One of the reasons that's pushing the needle, and you commented on when you were hired, the day you were hired, is that a lot of people look up and they see coaches that are fired who are getting paid $10 million or $12 million for poor performance. So do you understand, just from a money standpoint, how crazy the money is? I imagine you deal with it every day.
Yeah, there's a significant amount of money being generated in college athletics, throughout college athletics, whether it's a television network, an apparel company. But what I know, as I look at our budget of $125 billion, that there's $125 million, whether it's in the salary of our coaches, it's being reinvested into our student athletes. You can't tell me that the student athletes at the University of Alabama don't want to play for Nick Saban. He's one of the best, if not the greatest football coaches in all of college football. And if you go to Alabama, you're going to Alabama because you're going to play for Nick Saban because you think he can get you ready for the NFL. And so and also you look at the enrollment and how that's skyrocketed at Alabama since he's been there. Their university enrollment's up. And so, yes, you're paying a significant amount of money for your coaches, but that's because your student athletes want to play and learn under the best coaches.
Please, if you got a question, you want to mention that real quick, though?
Sure. I mean, that's our mission, and that's what we stand for day in and day out. And that's and really what that is my job as a director of athletics is to work with our coaches and our administrative staff and our support staff each and every day to create opportunities for our student athletes to have success academically, athletically, and in their personal development. And I tell our student athletes, if you take and make the most of those opportunities that we're creating for you, first of all, you're not going to fail at the University of Arkansas. You're going to earn your degree, you're going to have an opportunity to compete for and win championships, and you're going to leave the University of Arkansas prepared to be a champion in whatever you decide to do in life. Yeah, and that's what our mission is.
Did not have that back when I played. It's amazing that you guys offer those kind of
They
services.
didn't have that when you...
No, no, you did.
But you turned out to be a champion regardless.
You hold just said, future about the class graduate, that's all he said. All right, anybody got a question? First question, anywhere. All right, please stand, Bill.
And Coach, understand that we got 28 athletes that are no longer in the program that were there last year. Have we got rid of the bad apples? I mean, we know some of them transferred further themselves, but then a lot of them left. We don't know why. So
28 athletes have left the program. You want to comment on that?
Well, you'd have to ask those 28 athletes why exactly they left, and I don't like to refer to them as bad apples, but I think when you have a coaching change, sometimes you're just not a great fit for the new staff. I'll use my son as an example. He was recruited to be a preferred walk-on in Colorado by Mike McIntyre. He loved Coach McIntyre. A new coach came in, and right or wrong, my son was not a great fit for that new coach, and now he feels like he's at a place working with Coach Morrison where he is a better fit. And so sometimes when you have a staff change, one coach and one staff recruits you, and it turns out you're just not a great fit under that new staff.
Yes.
Dan Hawkins used to be the coach at the University of Colorado. I lived in Denver 27 years, so I went to a lot of football games at CU and Boulder. Now, he got fired quick after that great career prior at Boise State. And a lot of people speculated he got fired because he truly cared about people as a person and their character just as much as winning football. When he got fired, quit. It feels like to me that's really number one still is all winning, and coaches can lose their jobs fast if they really care about people.
I would agree with you. We have probably in our society and college athletics put way too much of a premium on winning, and college athletics was created, if you go back into history, it was created to help develop young men and women as part of the educational system at the university, okay? But you want to ask why coaches' buyouts are so high in their contracts? Is because we don't have a lot of patience in college athletics right now, and coaches want that protection. And if I'm going to come in 2 or 3 years, I'm not going to get that program to where you think it should be, and you're going to let me go. I got to have some protection in those contracts. And so I think we have put a huge premium, and you know why we put it huge? Because we talk about the money. There is so much money in college athletics that we have lost sight about really what college athletics is supposed to be about, and it's the development of those young men and women that are on their respective playing fields.
You mentioned earlier social media. I mean, it's unlike anything other because you get so much direct response. You also get a phone call from a booster. And how difficult is it when, are you okay with fans being upset about where the program is now from a football standpoint? Do you understand how frustrating it is just because of the history of the program?
Absolutely. I mean, a fan, you can have your opinion. That's what makes college athletics so special. And it's not just our fans that are frustrated with being 2-2 right now. I guarantee if you go on the message boards from Texas A&M, their fans are pretty frustrated about being 2-2. And I bet North Carolina fans are frustrated because they lost to Appalachian State this weekend. And I bet Georgia Tech fans are frustrated because 2 weeks ago they lost to the Citadel. That's what makes college athletics so special, is the fandom. And being a fan, and fans are entitled to their opinions.
With social media, your son's a player. Nick Starkville came out and said yesterday, talking about his Bieber shirt, and just having to respond. It's how difficult it is with that. Back when we played, we didn't have any of that. How difficult is that as a kid to deal with that kind of 10,000 followers and pressure and everybody's looking? And
yeah, I mean, we really tell all of our student athletes, whether times are really good or times are bad, to stay off social media. It's there's nothing good that's going to happen from social media. That's hard to tell someone that's 18 to 22 to kind of stay off your Instagram, stay off your Twitter, because here's what happens. Last week everybody's going to tell you how good you are through social media. This week they're going to tell you how bad you are through social media, and it's not, neither one's right or wrong. And so it's better just to stay off of that and try to tune out that noise and close those ranks inside the walls of your football program.
he had last week, Coach Morris, he decided for one of the ways he's connected with his kids, he did the club dub deal in the locker room. Is that something that you allow your coaches, say, Coach Musselman, whatever you think works with your players, go for it?
Absolutely. I mean, if history follows through with Coach Musselman, he'll be taking his shirt off at some point in time and run around the court without a shirt on. That's what he did in Nevada. And so, you're trying to energize 18 to 22-year-old kids, and it is hard to win a football game. Very hard to win a football game. It doesn't matter if it's Colorado State, Portland State, San Jose State, Alabama. It's hard to win a football game. And you need to celebrate that. You work so hard for 12, think of this. These young men, they train all winter long, all summer long, all fall long, for 12 opportunities to play their craft. And man, if you win one of those, you better celebrate it. You better celebrate. You know this, right? You better celebrate.
Do you have a dance move? No.
I do not have a dance move. I just hang out and clubbed up.
Question? Yes.
Just want to make a comment on something you already addressed. If you want to see passion in the state of Arkansas for football, go ahead and schedule Arkansas State.
You just said if you want to see passion, yeah, it'd be a sellout. I think it would be, and listen, the fact that you're going down that road is something a lot of us thought we would never see. What about Pepsi Coke? Let's see how you do. I mean, listen, right? I mean, it's amazing how many people bring that up.
They do. They bring it up a lot. And right now, we still have a university-wide contract. It's just not a Department of Athletics. university-wide contract with PepsiCo as their official soft drink of the University of Arkansas, and so that's really all I have to say about that.
That's above your pay grade.
I mean, and that's a common misconception. That is a university agreement, not a Department of Athletics agreement, and so we're a little bit at the mercy of the university with that.
Now, I do have to ask this, so what was it, you've been on staff now a year and a half?
2 years, almost 2 years in December.
So you had no connections with this state coming in, really no connections. So you've been here 2 years. Yeah, this group's seen you twice, everybody's getting to know you. So how do you feel about being in Arkansas? What's the 2 years been like?
My wife and I, and Brooks, our son, and now Jake, who moved here as well, and our oldest son is sitting on our couch looking for a job. If any of you guys got any jobs, let me know. I'll send them your way. But we all love the state of Arkansas. It's, being from North Carolina, this has very much a North Carolina feel where people are very down to earth, very welcoming. It's a very welcoming state, very welcoming community here in Little Rock and up in Northwest Arkansas, and it has been a very easy transition for my entire family to be a part of the state of Arkansas.
You obviously here under tough circumstances coming off a loss like this, but what you're telling everybody is that you believe in Chad Morris, you believe he's going to get the job done. It may take a while, but you believe that they're on the right track.
I do. I told Chad Morris that yesterday morning when I went over to his office, and he was really, really down. Really down for not only for Saturday, but you and I talked about he had a loss of one of his former players that he learned about in the early morning hours on Sunday, and he was really down, and he took full responsibility. I said, Coach, I want you to know, you are our football coach. You are my football coach. You have my full support. This program, in spite of the loss on Saturday, I know it is headed in the right direction. I see it headed in the right direction. Did we take a step back on Saturday? Absolutely. Are we all disappointed that we lost on Saturday? Absolutely. Should we have lost on Saturday? Absolutely not. But Chad Morris has got our football program headed in the right direction, and we're just going to have to be patient than most of us want to be. More patient than most of us want to be, including myself.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give it up.